It is your favorite auditor, Audit Them, the one who encourages you to audit them. Alrighty, so what we're going to be doing here, folks, is we're going to be looking at actually a public record request, FOIA request that came in. Well, this goes into detail of the acknowledgement of the City of Chicago employees and what they sign up for and sign up to. So before we get into the detail and into the document, let's go ahead and watch part of the video and we'll further elaborate.
No, but I understand what I'm trying to tell you. That's all.
Sir, I'm not interested in having that conversation. I have the
I
right
know.
to
I
record
know
here.
you're not interested,
Okay.
but I'm just telling you. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal.
There's a right and there's a wrong. I have the right to record in here. Hi, are you the FOIA officer?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, great. Ma'am, I'm going to be submitting a FOIA request here.
Okay.
Okay. However,
What's your name?
name is not required for FOIA. What's your name?
Nancy.
Nancy. Okay, great. Ma'am, right now, the Department of BACP
Yes.
is withholding records that are required to be displayed prominently.
Okay.
So, one second. I'm speaking, please. Don't interrupt me. So one of the records under Section 4 that are required to be displayed prominently
Yes.
is the purpose of BACP, a short description, a summary of its intended purpose.
It's on the website.
No,
sir.
it's required to be prominently displayed at the public body first. Okay, along with the total amount of operating budget, because right now I don't see that on display nowhere. I'm monitoring government here to ensure it's being conducted in the public interest.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I just want to bring this to your attention, ma'am, because I know BACP has been withholding many records for several years, and it's time for transparency and accountability now. That's why I record everything and I put that
that's our
stuff up
goal,
online.
to be
Yeah.
fully
But under
transparent.
Section 4, you're required to prominently display, so you don't withhold this information from good people like this, okay? And good people like me and customers. You see, what I noticed is when you say a government employee is a good person, 9 times out of 10, they'll flip on you. You would believe that they're good people, but now they'll start becoming hostile or belligerent. So watch how he performs. As well, they're able to see these records. They're going to see the total amount of full-time and part-time employees, your boards and commissions, your advisory body, your block diagram giving its functional subdivisions.
It is on the website.
Ma'am,
so
right, that's your second requirement. It's required first to be at the public body. You can't conceal that information from
So this
people
is
who do
what
not
we're
use
gonna
them.
do. We're gonna get your request
Yeah.
and we're gonna move forward with it, okay?
Sure. Could you give me my
Yeah,
paperwork?
is this your request? Is it completed?
One second, sir.
Is it done?
Sir, I don't need to be
Is it
rushed.
completed?
Sir?
If it's not completed, then we're gonna ask you to just step outside, complete it, and then just return us the form.
No, sir. I'm not even interested in speaking to you. You're not a FOIA
And
officer.
that's
Let me
okay.
get back talking to you,
No,
Nancy.
no, no. 'Cause
Okay, Miss Nancy, let me
you're
go
in
ahead
this
and go
public
over.
setting and you're recording me, and I'm not okay with that.
It's going to be published online.
Okay, well, I'm not okay with you recording.
Alrighty. Enough of that. This is where we're going to get into right here. You see how he says he's not comfortable. Alrighty. And look at the employee right next to him. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to see if his comfort level matches his signature. Right? Watch this. Nor is he nor is she comfortable. Oh, let me get the DJ out of here. Nor is he nor is she comfortable. But here's what we're going to do here. Is we have his signature. We're going to see what his signature says. He says he's not comfortable in his official capacity. Now watch this. And you know what? Let me see if we can somehow interact with this video. I have the right to record. Yes, you can. Yes, we can. Okay. Let me go ahead and go over
setting, and you're recording me, and not okay with that.
It's going to be published online. Alrighty, beautiful. So he says you're recording me, and I'm not okay with that. And then he proceeds to putting his hand in front of my camera as I'm standing in front of their counter. So here's his signature. Here's what he signed up for. And this is very important because this is what all city employees sign up for. And now if we zoom in here, we're going to see, before we read, we're going to see his signature right here. He signed up and he got this gig 2 years ago. So now I'm going to ask you a question here. After that being said, this is called a policy acknowledgement form. Just to be clear, a disclaimer here. This is not about this employee per se by the name of John Doe, right? You see this dude on the screen? It's not about him per se. It's about him in the official course of his government duty is what it's about. So now when we get into this reading here, we're going to see what the acknowledgement is all about. Number 1, commitment to follow the City of Chicago's Code of Conduct. As a condition and its consideration of my employment by the City of Chicago, this is what he's signing for. I hereby commit myself to follow the City of Code of Conduct, pursuant to 2-156-005 of the Municipal Code of the City of Chicago. The Code of Conduct set forth in this section shall be aspirational and shall guide the conduct of every official and employee of the city. As an employee of the city, I shall, this is what he shall do. Number 1, remember that I am a public servant who must place loyalty to the federal and Illinois constitutions, laws, and ethical principles above my private gain or interest. He says he's not comfortable above his private gain. Number 2, give a full day's work for a full day's pay. Number 3, put forth an honest effort in the performance of my duties. Number 4, a real good one. Treat members of the public with respect and be responsive and forthcoming in meeting their requests for information. Oh, that's a good one. Number 5, act impartially in the performance of my duties so that no private organization or individual is given preferential treatment. Number 6, refrain from making unauthorized promises purporting to bind the city. He doesn't feel comfortable. Never use any non-public information obtained through the performance of city work for private gain. That's police with the CAD report. Number 9, and this applies to even police in the city of Chicago. They sign the same form. Number 9, protect and conserve. I received this a few days ago. I wanted to go over it with you guys. Number 9 says protect and conserve city property and resources and use city property and resources only for authorized purposes or activities. Number 10, don't waste. Number 10 says disclose waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption to the appropriate authorities. That's a beautiful one. Could you imagine all the police officers that do not disclose fraud when I'm telling them somebody's in breach of peace, they're they're concealing under 160 State Record Act, or they're in official misconduct, and they fail to put that on my side of the story on their police report. So they fail to disclose abuse, right? When I'm making that claim and statement, that's abuse, and or could be construed as corruption to the appropriate authorities. So number 11, adhere to all applicable laws and regulations that provide equal opportunity for all persons regardless of race, color, religion, gender, national origin, age, sexual orientation, or handicap. I understand that this document is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or equity, by any party against the city, its departments, agencies, entities, officers, employee or agents, or any other person. So number 2, here it says ethics pledge to 156-105 governmental ethics ordinance. As a condition, as a consideration of my employment or appointment by the city of Chicago in position invested with the public trust, right? And it's a public trust. I shall, upon leaving government employment or opinion, employment or appointment, comply with the applicable requirements under the section of Municipal Code imposing restrictions upon lobbying by former government employees, which I understand are binding on me and are enforceable under law. So once again, well, let's carry on here before we do that. I acknowledge that section 2-156-105 of the City of Municipal Code, which I have read before signing this pledge, which he read this before he signed this, and all employees supposed to impose restrictions upon former government employees and appointees and set forwards and methods for enforcing them. I expressly accept the applicable provisions under this section, Municipal Code, of this part and agree as binding on me. I understand that the terms of this pledge are in addition to any statutory or other legal restrictions applicable to me by virtue of government service. 156-105. Post-employment restrictions on lobbying. Any person who serves, all right, well, that's about lobbying. We're going to go ahead and skip that. If you want to take an image of that, you can. Now, I acknowledge under number 3, diversity and equal employment opportunity policy acknowledgement of receipt. I acknowledge that I've received the copy of the diversity packet. Number 4, personnel rules acknowledgement of receipt. I acknowledge that I have received the copy of the personal rules. So, you know. Number 5, outside employment. Outside employment is any paid employment outside employment is any paid employment performed by an employee in addition to his or her employment with the City of Chicago. So this is what we're going to focus on here. We're going to focus on number 4. Treat members of the public with respect and be responsible and forthcoming in meeting their requests for information. So this is the key right here. Even though a janitor, all the way up to a county commissioner, all employed, from a police officer to a business consultant, all employees working for the City of Chicago have to sign this document and have to abide by their own internal policies, right? Of course, they have to abide by the policies and law. But in this instance, they're abiding by these policies here. And with that being said, since it does say meeting their requests for information, now that could be construed as when someone is inquiring with the Freedom of Information Act, this has another door to an employee being responsive and forthcoming in meeting your inquiry and your requests for information. So with that being said, this is another great one here. Let's take a quick look at, oh, sorry if I had guys' video in the way, but let's go ahead and click on that again here and open this up. So here's a couple questions I like to ask him, right? Here's a couple questions that I'd like to ask him. First and foremost, what we're going to do here is we're going to rewind this segment and go ahead and continue here. Alrighty. So let me open this up. Oh, wait a minute. Alrighty. She kind of looks like the former mayor, right? I don't know if they're family. Maybe neither here nor there. However, the main thing is that there's 30,000 employees in the city of Chicago, and each and every single employee signs up for this commitment that you see on the screen. The commitment to follow the city of Chicago's code of conduct. And there's consequences when not followed. So here's how he felt. Here's what he signed 2 years ago, and here's how he felt instead.
No,
Okay, Miss Nancy, let me go ahead and go over.
Setting, and you're recording me, and I'm not okay with that.
It's going to be published online.
Okay, well, I'm not okay with you recording me.
I have the right to record
You don't
government
have- did I give
employees
you-
in the
did I
official
give you
It's no
corporation
recording,
language.
sir, in this facility. It's
Yeah.
posted up there.
Yes,
Why
but-
don't you
Did I give you
why don't you point that?
Did I give you
No,
authorization
no.
to record me?
Ma'am. Oh, how amazing. How amazing. He even threw a hand gesture of a signature, right? He threw a hand gesture of a signature. Well, yeah, that's a good hand gesture that you threw on government money. On tax paying, you know, you're working for the government. He threw the hand gesture. And as a matter of fact, here it is under the redaction. His signature. Here's his name to the left. So with that being said, here's some questions that I have for him, right? He says, I'm not comfortable, I'm not comfortable. Right? And this goes moving forward. These are facts here, man. This is like, you know. So now, with you guys seeing the video and how he performed. Cajun Randy, hello there. So, let me ask you guys questions here. Based on what we read with the acknowledgement of receipt here, do you believe this employee is treating members of the public with respect? Do you believe that the employee is being responsive and forthcoming to your requests for information? Right? I'm in there requesting information. I'm requesting a FOIA. Yes, yes, of course, he's not a FOIA officer. Of course, he's not a FOIA officer. However, he's still required to be responsive and forthcoming for your request for information. Do you see how powerful that statement is? That each and every single employee that works for the city is bound by, signed up to. So let me go back there and show you. It's under section 4. Number 4. So number 4 is telling you, treat members of the public with respect and be responsive and forthcoming in meeting their requests for information. So that being said, if you walk up to any job duty, any person, whether, like I said, they're commissioner all the way down to a janitor, you asking them a question in English, in English, and you asking them, they basically have to have a responsive and forthcoming in meeting your request for, hi, can you guide me, hi, janitor, can you guide me please to the FOIA counter? Well, let me double check. Refrain from making unauthorized promises. Many things. I would ask you guys, is this employee acting impartially without discrimination or preferential treatment, right? Why is he acting with preferential treatment? Would he act that way and throw his hand up and say he's not comfortable in front of other cameras or just in front of my camera, right? So you see, okay, now is the employee trying to use non-public information for personal gain to my disadvantage? Right? Let me say that one again. Here, let me put it on the screen here. Let's see. This is a powerful packet here, man. I'm telling you what these folks signed up for. Okay, so my question is, is the employee trying to use non-public information for personal gain to my disadvantage? Is the employee making unauthorized promises or threats not consistent with city policy? Is the employee acting impartially without discrimination, like I said earlier, or without preferential treatment? So is the employee complying fully with ethical standards, including allowing lawful transparency activity, i.e. filming, recording, public interactions, i.e. that means example given. Man. Now, let me ask this guy another question here. This government employee. Let me ask you guys, you are the people who are monitoring the government to ensure it is being conducted in the public interest. Is this employee attempting to intimidate, threaten, or unlawfully prevent me from recording their official action? Does the employee appear to uphold their acknowledged ethical obligation to transparency and accountability during this interaction? Is the employee honest and accurate about their duties and legal obligations when questioned? Come on, man, this is not a joke. So this is many departments category. Oh, there's no such thing as don't drag it along. It's done and over with. We're not watching the video. We're talking about this, the overall idea here is that there's a right and there's a wrong. And these folks are using the wrong. They're using the wrong. Because the right is right where they signed. And another question here that we have is going to be, is this employee attempting to falsely imply or claim a privacy right during the official course of his duty? Here, let's watch a snippet of this.
With your recording,
I have the right to record government employees in the official
There's no
course of
recording,
duty.
sir, in this facility. It's
Yeah.
posted up there.
Yes,
Why
but
don't you point that?
Did I give you
No,
authorization
no.
to record?
No.
'Cause
Okay, Miss Nancy, let me
you're
go
in
ahead
this
and go
public
over.
setting and you're recording me, and I'm not okay with that.
It's going to be published online.
Okay, well, I'm not okay with you recording
I
me.
have the right to record
You don't have-
government
did I give
employees and
you- did I-
officials. You see, and that is the amazing thing here, guys. Look at the irony here. He's holding his hand gesture. He's holding a hand gesture that says, "Did I sign?" He's basically saying, did he sign for me to record him, right? Here's his signature right here. And here's his ethical background. All his ethical background. Right? So let's continue watching a little bit more. Well, let me ask the people here. Would you like to watch a little bit more of that encounter? Press 1. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and continue asking these questions here. Oh, Sherry said yes. Alrighty. Yeah, well, you know what? There's no expectation of privacy for public. That's true. There's many factors behind the power that the people have to hold government accountable, to ensure that it is being conducted in the public interest. Elon Sus, he just started putting out videos explaining what's been happening. The people holding the government accountable, they put him in office. However, I'm just asking them for measly to put up their purpose. I'm just asking these folks to put up their purpose. I'm not working in the government position like Elon Sus where he says, hey, no more funding. I'm not in that position. However, if the government gives me a call and they tell me, hey, we want to put you on the clock, like I said, well, we'll speak about that at a later time. Let's continue watching here.
There's no recording, sir, in this facility. It's posted up there.
Yes,
Why
ma'am.
don't you point
Did I
that?
give you authorization to record me?
Ma'am,
It
ma'am,
is,
Did I give you
it is
authorization
stated
to
out
record
there,
me?
correct, that there's no.
Yeah.
there's a
Did
right.
I give you authorization to record me?
I have the
Your
right
phone
to
is
record
pointed
public
to record
officials
me?
in the official course
I
of their
gave you
duties.
authorization to record me?
Well, cut your conversation
Did
now.
I give you
I'm going to ask for your
authorization?
higher up. I'm going
Yes,
to
sir,
ask for your higher
but I'm
up.
going to explain something to you so
Okay.
you can have this everything on camera, okay, sir? So you see this right here? It says facility
Okay, ma'am,
information. There's
this
no
is my
photo-
FOIA form.
there's
If I
no
could have a
photo
copy
or
of this.
Video, sir, in
Sir,
the information. So
I'm
just to let
finished
you know.
talking to you. I'm gonna
It's
ask
okay.
for your
It's
higher
okay.
up.
Not
I'm
a
gonna ask for
problem.
your higher
Not a
up.
problem. We'll get him up here, okay?
What-
So,
copy?
ma'am, I need a copy of this. This, what I'm requesting here, is all.
Can you shut that off though if it says no recording?
No, there's no statute
hey,
to that.
you-
There's a right and there's a wrong.
you're
You're in
not
the
off-
wrong. So you see, without having the job descriptions in my hand at the time of this encounter, I'm sorry, the acknowledgement form, it's like it's off your conscience that government employees are to act in an honorable fashion, upstanding, right? They are to be held to a higher stance than the regular citizen. And it's very clear when you read what these employees acknowledge. Now let's look at the police officer, for example, or let's look at the sergeant, right? Let's see if we could have a still image of the police officer and the sergeant together. Well, either or. Either or. The police officer, the business consultant, the FOIA officer, the sergeant, each and every single employee working for the city, I said the number 30,000, sign up, and these are what they sign. This is what they sign up for. And so now I want to go back here so we don't get lost to the section where this man this employee here, right? He put his hand up and he performed the way that he performed. So some of the questions that I do have for him: is this employee treating members of the public with respect? Remember the first line here. Let's look at the first line. Number 1, I remember that I am a public servant. Let me zoom in there. Let me zoom in. Number 1, remember that I am a public servant who must place loyalty to the federal and state code, right? And to the United States Constitution. So that's one of them. Now, when you say there's no expectation of privacy in public, that's one of them. There's many case laws saying, you know, what the truth is. Now, the question that I have for the employee who does not feel comfortable, right? He does not feel comfortable. He says he's not comfortable. So, is the employee being responsive and forthcoming, as line number 4 says? Is he being forthcoming to request for information? Number 3, is the employee acting impartially without discrimination or preferential treatment? Right? Like now the thing is that the amazing thing is that when you order your Illinois binder, if you are in Illinois and you order your Illinois binder and you come in contact with any government employee that works for the city of Chicago and you're standing before him, right? These are some simple questions you could ask him. Sir, do you believe that, sir, are you using the non-public information for personal gain to his disadvantage? Is the employee protecting city property and resources, including not interfering with lawful right to film or document openly? It's unbelievable. Is the employee complying fully with ethical standards, including allowing lawful transparency activities, filming, recording from... Okay, great. Well, here's what we're going to do, guys. I tell you what here. We could start right now watching unreleased videos if we get 40 thumbs up right now. Well, no, that's not going to happen. We'll do it at a later time. Anyhow, I'd like to thank you guys all again. And never forget that, you know, not only you having the knowledge of these documents, that just have it in your conscience that it's not normal when government employees put on a tirade like these employees did here. Each and every single one of them was complicit with going against their, first of all, policy, all the way up to their oath of office. You know, it's not right. It's unethical. And with that being said, there's a right and there's a wrong. For all the people that believe this auditing stuff and the citizens holding government accountable and attempting to, and going and putting them on camera, showing the world what they're really like on your tax money, how they really act, how they, you know, in front of a camera, that this is not important. It's very important. Until now, they're seeing that the higher ups, the government is opening up a new branch to do this similar type of work, to hold government accountable, going through these federal agencies, find out who's not really utilizing the public trust in the public benefit, and they're shutting down the departments and the agencies. So my channel was never on falsehoods. My channel always have been about conscience, reality, truth. And I feel that in my conscience when I see any of these government employees here become hostile or belligerent. I de-escalate them, and it's based off of fact. It's based off of fact. The fact is deep, because this is just one element of what they signed up for. They signed up for the Constitution and everything under, right? We're going to go ahead and read this again. Number 1, remember that I am a public servant. This should be the only people who should sign this document are the ones who have ambition to start off as a intern, to a deputy clerk, to a commissioner, to a president. It shouldn't be for, private preferential gain. And that's what this guy is doing. Private preferential. Why? Because he's doing his feelings. And that's what 70% of the employees in my videos, they get in their feelings. For private, that's private gain. That's preferential. Because they would not act like that in front of everybody's camera. Right? So with that being said here, number 1, remember that I am a public servant who must place loyalty to the federal and Illinois constitutions, laws, and ethical principles above my private gain or interest. Give a full day's work for a full day's pay. Put forth an honest effort in the performance of my duties. Treat members of the public with respect and be responsible and forthcoming in meeting their requests for information. Request for information. Excuse me, sir, can you tell me where the Department of Finance is? Yeah, sure, it's on the 7th floor. Right? Excuse me, sir, can you tell me what's the purpose of this agency? Sure, let me try to look that up. Number 5, act impartially in the performance of my duties. Impartial. So that no private organization or individual is given preferential treatment. Number 6, refrain from making unauthorized promises purporting to bind the city. Number 7, never use any non-public information obtained through the performance of city work for private gain. Again, I said that's like the police using the license plate reader for private gain. So number 8, engage in no business or financial transaction with any individual, organization, or business that is inconsistent with the performance of my city duties. Number 9, protect and conserve city property and resources, and use city property and resources only for authorized purposes or activities. Number 10, this is a good one. Disclose waste, fraud, abuse. That's what Elon is doing. Elon sus. Disclose waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption to the appropriate authorities. Police officer, report that to your sergeant. He's the appropriate authority. Number 11, adhere to all applicable laws and regulations that provide equal opportunity for all persons regardless of race, color, religion, gender, national origin, age, sex orientation, or hardship. Handicap. I understand that this document is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit substantive or procedural enforceable. Okay, well, that's the reading. That's what's available there. And again, this applies to 30,000 employees, each and every single police officer, each firefighter, paramedic, finance employees, business license employees, Department of Transportation, Department of Ethics, Department of Cultural Affairs, Department of Clerk Office, Department of Mayor Office, Department of Disabilities, Department of IT, Department of Assets, Department of Water Management. Each and every single department this applies to. And when you get your auditing binder, you're going to be doing the right thing. It is the one who encourages you to audit them. Thank you guys for tuning in.